We are here to give an update on the critical feeder main break that is affecting citywide water. The break occurred in a key water supply pipe that carries water across the city. This incident impacts water availability across the city. This is a dynamic situation, and crews from many agencies are continuing to work to prioritize public health and safety while supporting safe and adequate water supply for Calgarians. The City of Calgary continues to be in stage 4 of water restrictions. This means mandatory outdoor water restrictions are in place and voluntary indoor water restrictions are encouraged. Calgarians are not able to water lawns, gardens, wash outdoor surfaces such as windows, sidewalks, fill pools or fountains, or use water for construction. To help conserve our water supply, voluntary restrictions for indoor water use are also in place. This includes delaying running dishwashers, washing machines, limiting showers, and keeping baths shallow, turning off humidifiers, turning off ice machines, turning off your taps when not in use. Every drop counts, and thank you to every Calgarian that has made small changes in their habits today that have contributed to helping. We need to keep our foot on the gas. While we are doing a great job at conserving water at this time, we need to encourage continued diligence this evening, as we know evenings are typically a time when we see higher water usage. To support water conserving efforts, some city services are closed or experiencing some disruptions. At this time, city pools and arenas are closed, and athletic parks, the Calgary Soccer Centre, and street sweeping services are experiencing some disruptions. For the latest information, please visit calgary.ca. Fire bulk water stations are also temporarily closed. The boil water advisory for Bowness is still in place. This means anyone in Bowness should boil water for 1 minute rolling boil before consuming. Water wagons have also been deployed into Bowness. There are currently 9 water wagons in the community, and please visit calgary.ca for the specific location on those water wagons and some more information on the boil water advisory. Due to the restricted water use, the Calgary Fire Chief implemented a citywide fire ban this morning. This fire ban includes City of Calgary parks and is necessary to ensure fire safety. To continue.
Thank you, Sue. Currently, we've narrowed down the location of the break, and our crews are now digging the site and continuing to take some water and debris out of the hole. Our crews are working around the clock to move as quickly as possible to repair the feeder main. Some of you may wonder, what is a feeder main? Which I'd like to share with you is like the large artery in the city, moving water, carrying drinking water from our treated water reservoirs to the network of mains that deliver drinking water across Calgary and beyond. This is the Bearspaw South feeder main that serves 1.2 million Calgarians, as well as our regional customers living in Airdrie, Chestermere, and Strathmore. This Bearspaw South feeder main is the most critical feeder main in Calgary's water system, allowing for the movement of water to east and south parts of the city, away from our largest water treatment plant in the north of the city. The feeder main is 11 kilometers long, and it varies up to 2 meters in width. So you can imagine the amount of water that carries. With that, what we're seeing on the site suggests that we know that this break, as I mentioned, is catastrophic. We will take the time to get to the exact location and determine our approach once we're able to surface the pipe, and we'll actually then be able to see the size. We still have not been able to see what exactly needs to be replaced, but we are working on a repair plan regardless as we move forward. This feeder main was installed in 1975. It is made of pre-tested concrete pressurized pipe, common during those years, with wire and steel as well. In Calgary's water distribution system, you might ask about when do breaks happen, and it is really truly part of our distribution system and how it works, and they do happen. And in fact, Calgary has one of the lowest average numbers of main breaks per 100 kilometers when you compare us to other large major cities. We do regular asset maintenance, or we get out there and see what our assets, the pipes look like. And when we do those assessments, 95% of our distribution system is rated good or very good. That said, this is a catastrophic break that is impacting so many of us. Our first priority is public health and reestablishing services for those who are without water. When we complete those repairs, and we will certainly fully investigate the cause of the break and share that information with you, our focus right now is more immediate. I really want to thank the Calgarians who have currently stepped up to help out and do the right things to help conserve water. It's important because this water main is a part of how we shift water to get that water to everyone in the city. We have 2 water plants, and that does allow us flexibility to ensure our water sources to communities. Due to the break, one of our plants is unable to move water into our feeder main system, and certainly all Calgarians must conserve so we can get that capacity to those who need it throughout the city. With level 4 restrictions in place, plus the additional indoor measures that many of you are taking, we truly are doing what is needed at the moment, as we understand, particularly as we head into the evening when we know people use more water. It's absolutely critical so we can see what we're able to produce, what you're using, and what that balance is. We're paying very close attention to that. I want to share with you that many of the customers, both our business customers as well as our regional customers that we've reached out to, have really stepped up to do the right thing, adjusting their processes. So it's homeowners, it's businesses, large institutions. We're really seeing everyone lean in. So again, want to thank you all for that, and really appreciate everything that's been done. Thanks very much, everyone. Over to the mayor.
Good afternoon, everybody. I had the opportunity to go on site today, and the crew leader, Lee, was able to give me a better idea of the situation. And for anyone who's wondering the context of a feeder main versus a water main, as Chief has indicated to us, you can literally drive a truck through the feeder main that has broken. If you are going by the site, you can see trailers that are parked there for the crews. Those trailers fit in this pipe. So it's a pretty significant piece of infrastructure. The good news is there was no businesses that were flooded. So the neighboring businesses in the little strip mall did not get flooded. That is a big relief to everybody. The parking lot of the Safeway did receive a lot of water, and the Shoaldice Ball Diamonds were pretty much underwater. So all of that is being remediated in time for ball games. There's been overland release of this water, so there are 2 pumps that are going, as well as the buckets that are trying to get water out of that site so that they can see what's wrong and actually get to a repair point. Still identifying a repair schedule, but the good news again, when the time comes for repair, all of the equipment that's needed and all of the pieces and parts that are needed are readily available because of the maintenance work that was already done in April. So again, we're in good shape once we get to the point of identifying what the repairs look like. Really big shout out to the crews who are working on this. They are working 24/7, so their shifts are back to back. And they're out there with smiles on their faces, knowing that this is a big work that only they can do, and can't thank them enough for being so committed to this. And Calgarians who have been reaching out to see what you can do, offering to help within the community and reducing your water usage. It's been exceptional. As was just mentioned by our director, water use is down. And so thank you very much for all the measures that you're taking. And as we go into the evening hours, please keep at it. Carry on with leaning in. That's the thing that's going to put us in really good shape. And Bowness and Montgomery residents, please know how much people care about you, both the people that are in your communities and in this city, but also the folks that work at the City of Calgary. Their top priority right now is to take care of this situation so that your service is restored. And I want to thank Councillor Sharp and Councillor Wong, who have been actively out in their communities, engaging with residents and businesses and making sure that their needs are taken care of. So just a very big shout out to Calgarians for doing such good work in this difficult situation. Thank you.
All right, we'll open up for questions. Just so you know, Chief Longworth is here to answer questions about fire safety, fire ban. We do have a representative from AHS here to talk about the boil advisory, and then Chief Ryan Price is here to speak about the fire.
whoever's available, I know we talked about the break being catastrophic. What is the situation though if water use around the city does not decline, especially I pick up the concerns obviously in the evening hours here. What is the situation if Calgary's water use does not get pared back a little bit here? What are we facing here as a city if that does not happen?
So again, the most important, and I appreciate your question, is that we're all doing our part, and we're very close to the line of where supply demand for this morning, but typically use goes up. So we all need to. The big thing is everyone continue to do what they're doing. We're monitoring that at different parts of the city. If we went further, would experience different things. In Bowness right now, we have some water wagons for the water boil water advisory. We're looking at all sort of scenarios, which is what we do best here, to come up with some options. We will still be able to provide city to some parts of the city, and we're paying very close attention to what it looks like. We know there are pressure issues somewhere, and that gives us an indication in addition to the modeling that we're doing of what the impacts are. So it's dynamic still, and we are thinking about options and what we can provide, things like the water wagons that are, I think we have 9 different sites in critical locations in Bowness where, again, there is the drinking water quality advisory is. Drinking water quality in the rest of the city is good quality at this point.
If that consumption doesn't stop, as people come back, is that like something that might need to be expanded to the water wagons? Maybe some folks might have to go with those more. Is that kind of what we're seeing right now?
So we do have teams in the Emergency Operations Center that are working on contingency plans, and they're working on contingency plans for a variety of different outcomes that could happen. One of those outcomes is mass distribution of water and figuring out how would we do that if we had to. One of that is looking at alternative fire strategies, which Chief Dongworth, I would invite you to jump in on. But we do have a large team of people downstairs that are trying to think of every possibility that could happen in every scenario and make sure that we've done all of the planning processes to be ready for every scenario, with the hope that Calgarians continue to help us and continue to come to the table to help us conserve water.
Is one of those contingency plans something similar to when there's a power surge and there could be rolling brownouts? Certain communities, the power is shut off and you don't even have access. It's not an honor system or a fine anymore. You literally can't turn on the power. Is that an option for water as well for communities?
Our water system, like a network sort of arteries, if I go back to that, if and what some folks are experiencing now with the pressure decreasing in some areas to what they're not used to, the system, it's only there with what goes into it, so to speak. So it's not that we can shut it off necessarily for a whole community. It actually, the pressure will just change and it won't be there. There's not enough going into it. Oh, I hope that explains that.
For sure, and I think that's what Bowness and Montgomery County experience.
Exactly.
Is there a risk that people in other parts of the city tomorrow morning will turn on their taps and we'll get a trickle or nothing out?
There is a possibility, again, which is why we need everyone to do their part so that there's enough for everyone and we're able to move that water through the system with the capabilities of the mains that we have to move that water around. So it is a possibility that we're thinking about, absolutely, and we want to maintain that system and make sure everyone gets some.
Sorry, I know others have questions, but one more, please. So I understand there's the 2 different water treatment facilities.
Yep.
The Bears Paw and the Glenmore.
That's right.
Because of this break, is that Bears Paw one essentially out of service for the city now and you're relying only on the Glenmore?
No, Bears Paw is still up and running, but we are not able to move as much water from Bears Paw as we would like. From Bears Paw, this feeder main moves water from Bears Paw plant to the south and southeast. And so our capacity to move that, we can move it from Glenmore, but we're limited in where we can move that. And we're changing that, what we usually do, to try and adjust that to make sure that we're getting water to everyone.
And how much limited? So normally 100% now, how much would that be limited to?
Can you repeat the question?
You said that capacity is now limited. So if a normal day without a break is 100% water flowing through, how much would it be down? Down to 50% from that Bears Paw facility?
I don't have that number exactly, and again, it's a dynamic system that we're adjusting, and I could find that out though for you.
Thank you.
I know it would be wrong to ask for a the repair work hasn't started yet. So just on a larger scale, are we looking at 24 hours, more than that, or something, some sort of a timeline that you could give us? Not the exact, but something for the repair work.
So as I mentioned, we are still opening the ground where there is water still there. So we still can't see the size of the pipe. We know we have equipment, as Mayor Gondek mentioned, and we're ready to go. We've got crews on site doing everything they can. We've got a game plan, but the scenarios are still not clear for us. So we need to be prepared for some time for this to play out. I can't give you a time at this time, and I really want to, but we just don't have enough information. It's still a little dynamic.
And just to add to that, it is a situation right now that is being carefully assessed. If we are being very, very optimistic and they can remove the water from the site and actually get in there and have a look at what's going on, it is possible that within the next day to 2 days, they can identify the problem, and then it would take as long as it takes to do the repair. Right now, we can't even tell you what the repair is, but I think we're looking at least another day or two to be able to identify what's going on. And so while we can't give you a set time frame, we can tell you that the crews are there, and because they're working 24/7, we should be able to get you more answers as they come in. And we'll continue to update you in this manner, as well as through any releases that we can put out as the information comes in.
Just to follow up, the boil water advisory, it's in effect for Boness right now. So question for AHS, if possible, someone from AHS can answer. Other community members from Northwest are also complaining of water tasting odd. So could it be that, the boil water advisory could be expanded to other communities? Just wondering.
Thank you. So Dr. Frank Rose, Duty Medical Officer of Health with Alberta Health Services. At this time, we know Boness does have that boil water advisory in order, so that is in effect. We have our team closely monitoring all impacted areas as well as pressure. We're working closely with folks at the City of Calgary, the Water Division, with CEMA. We're asking Calgarians to phone 311 if you are noticing anything odd. That information is coming to our team. We're working 24/7 and assessing it. We have also had public health inspectors out all day today throughout Boness, Montgomery, meeting with affected sites, operators, providing information, and we'll continue to support as this goes forward.
So you're getting any reports or not?
At this point, I don't have additional information on that. The Boness boil water advisory is in order. As information comes, we will continue to assess, and if we need to expand that boil water order, we will do so.
Since this morning there was that alert, are you guys going to do another alert in regards to a fire ban?
So the alert that we issued just before 7 o'clock this morning is a broadcast intrusive alert that's issued when there's a condition that we feel that life safety is imminently at risk. And in this circumstance, we needed Calgarians to take immediate action to conserve water. And it was the timing as folks were waking up and they were about to start their day. We needed them to look at their shower differently and change some of their habits instantly. The circumstance with a fire ban is a little bit different. It isn't an imminent threat. We know there is a risk in the community, but there isn't imminent threat. So we would not be using a critical alert to let a fire ban information out.
Can we for AHS as well about the boil water advisory? Can you just speak to maybe why it was called? Is there anything that you know, or is it just precautionary, and what could some of the public health risks be?
Alberta Health Services will issue a boil water advisory whenever there's a concern for the quality of the water. Multiple metrics can be used. Some of these sometimes are if there's a known contaminant, if there's turbidity, as well as we take them out of an abundance of caution. This was issued out of an abundance of caution due to that low pressure in there. There's a possibility maybe contaminants got into the line, things like that. Complete safety. We wanted to ensure public health, public safety. And so out of an abundance of caution, the boil water order was issued for the affected areas, which we knew Boness was one that had that low pressure late yesterday evening. And so that is why the boil water advisory was issued, we will continue to monitor, and that boil water order will only be lifted once we are confident that the water is safe to be consumed in that area.
People working in restaurants are busy working. They may not be watching the media. So how are you notifying restaurants and people that use water for
All of the vendors within Bowness, we reached out to. So those that have an active file with Alberta Health Services, we communicated with first thing this morning before they started. We've also had our public health teams phoning on site all day, talking with them, asking questions. AHS is also working on providing more information on our website to those affected. So we are working directly with those who have had, who are in that boil water order area, but we are also working on our communications for all Calgarians.
A question about the speaker line. We heard there was some maintenance down in April. Can we talk a bit about that maintenance and how concerning it is that something like this could happen after maybe a check on this after, I would imagine, it went through asset management?
Thanks for the question. So maintenance work is routine and regular on all of our infrastructure. And we did have some work happen this spring. We replaced some air valves, installed acoustic monitoring devices, which is pretty common on this type of pipe. We do routine field checks on valve chambers. We were doing some test shutdowns last year, knowing that later this year we were going to do some other tests and checks. It's part of our regular work. This one being a larger feeder main. When you do that, we do lots of preparing. And we did a lot of that, and we did our maintenance and that. So we actually had done some work on this one because it's such a critical one. That's part of our due diligence, is making sure that we've got good backup plans for when something goes wrong and the impact is high, we make sure we've got plans in place. And so that's what we've been acting today. I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
What do you recommend to residents of the next couple of days? They're probably going to need to wash some dishes, that sort of thing. Do they use the dishwasher at night? Do they wash in the sink? What are the recommendations?
Do you want to
go ahead?
Yep. So we know people need to use water for basic elements of like washing our dishes, all those kinds of things. We ask that you delay some things, minimize that use, maybe take a shower one extra day later, shorter shower, all the things that you can do. Ice makers, believe it or not, use a heck of a lot of water. Simple things like that truly add up. And so delay some things, really reduce indoor. That's our real call to action that we're looking for folks to do.
ice makers? Hotels in this city, are you notifying them?
Directly, some of our larger we've gone through our top 100 water users, and we've called all of them. We have a whole team that's been working since 7:30 this morning. Now, how many of those are restaurants? I'm not sure, but we've gone through that big list, and I think with all the media that we've done, that's been a key message of the kinds of things that can make a difference.
Asking about the cost is not appropriate, but does the city have something in the budget for emergencies like this?
I'll just maybe add one thing quickly on the hotel piece. We have worked with the Hotel Association to get some messaging out to all of the hotels in Calgary and ask them to put posters up in their hotels to ask their guests to also consider conserving water. So we've done our best to reach out to that community.
I'll add something else too.
Bonus mess, I don't know what we call it, but the water main break, this is not something that we anticipate in our budget. Does the city have some emergency fund or money set aside for things like this?
So one of the things that our teams do when they come to us at budget season is make sure that they have that contingency built in for something like this. And so I know that the water team has been really good about ensuring that they've got some backup funding requests when they know that there might be some capital that's required for improvements. And I have to say, as a council, we've been hearing for the last 2.5 years that there were deferrals on maintenance of all types of infrastructure, not just water. And the teams have been so good about making sure that they can deliver quality of service on the water side in particular, because we are the water steward. And I would imagine that with the mid-cycle review coming up, that they will be making sure that they have a budget request in there to ensure that we are looking at the life cycle of our water infrastructure in particular in perhaps a more timely manner than we could in the past. And to your other question about usage of water in places like hotels, we've got a pretty big conference in town right now. The Federation of Canadian Municipalities is in town. However, they are all colleagues of mine. And we have all been very aware and raising the alarm on the fact that our infrastructure needs in cities are dire, and we need more supports from the federal and provincial government. So that is a very active room that understands what it means to have to conserve water right now. I've gotten the message out to my colleagues in the Big City Mayor's Caucus. Tomorrow I will be talking to all of the Federation municipalities, and I will get that message out again. So, you know, the good news is that the people who are in town for a conference are the ones that understand what a situation like this actually means.
Any more questions? I know that you won't be able to talk about what caused this water main break. There's an investigation underway. But what are reasons that water mains break? Do they just get old unless somebody rupturing it?
There are a number of reasons that water mains do break, and it quite often we can't actually identify the exact reason. It's a fact of life of watering of running a water utility and providing drinking water services to citizens that this does happen. And again, it's part of what we budget for. We know it does happen. It can be temperature gradients. So sometimes in Calgary Chinooki, it's cold and then it gets warm, and that can cause stress. Sometimes we're moving water differently, so the pressures can be different in water mains. But we minimize that. We've got devices to minimize that impact with age, absolutely, and that's why we have that those checks and balances and the maintenance programs that we do have in place. So there's a whole variety of reasons, absolutely, and it's really hard to pinpoint. This is a big one, though. Thanks.
Any more?
I think the chief might have something to add. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just would like to say, as well as obviously Calgarians are great in these kind of circumstances in terms of restricting water use. The other thing we'd appeal for people to think about is because the availability of water for firefighting in parts of the city may be less than we would normally have, that people think about from a fire safety perspective. I think, as you all know, I put a fire ban out in the city this morning, which includes the parks in the city. I believe the province have put a fire ban on Fish Creek Park because we don't control that park. But I'd also encourage Calgarians just to take care if they're cooking, make sure they don't leave their cooking unattended, and to be careful with smokers materials, how they dispose of those. And there's lots more information on those things on www.calgary.ca/fire. But I just ask Calgarians to think about that as well and reduce that opportunity for fires to occur during this period of time when we're obviously facing a bit of a challenge.
There's been calls for people who don't have homes that, often build fires
Yeah.
at night. Are you communicating to the drop-in centers and alpha centers, maybe communicate to the people without homes?
We haven't, but I'm sure we could loop that in as well. Certainly, our crews are vigilant for that as they get called out to those kind of circumstances, and as they're very active through the night, working through the city. And I'm sure that's a message that we would be delivering for sure. But yeah, as always, Calgary Fire Department's here for everyone, and but just would encourage people to be extra vigilant right now in terms of not only water use but also the risk of a fire occurring.
I'll maybe just add for the Emergency Operations Center, we do have a nonprofit liaison position that's down in the Emergency Operations Center, and their whole job and their whole role down there is to reach out to all of our partners. That includes all of the drop-in centers, that includes all of our vulnerable populations, to make sure that they're receiving all of the messages and all of the information that's coming from the EOC.
The sports desk wants to know, Stampeders are playing tomorrow, and it's home opener. McMahon is close by, and 16th Avenue is a major artery to get there, plus the water usage within the stadium. What's the plan?
I don't know that we can speak directly to the water usage in the stadium, but I can tell you this. Calgarians are incredible people and incredible fans. I think they will be very understanding of the situation. And we have put out as much information as we can about where the road networks are shut down. I think they'll plan accordingly, but I don't think there's a Stamps fan out there that wouldn't in their heart be thinking of the residents of Bowness and Montgomery, who we are trying to help right now.